What is going on, everyone? This is your man King May coming back to you right here in the King May community on YouTube, and you all welcome to Ashton Corners. This map here is brought to you by MRG, and if you guys are looking to check out this map, which I'm hoping you are, make sure you go ahead, check the description down below, as I have MRG's YouTube channel linked there, and from there you can go ahead and go to MRG's Discord and go ahead and follow any sort of things you need to do with MRG in order to get access to this map. Right now, currently, as I'm recording this video, this map is in a beta state, but we're gonna go ahead and do a little bit of a map tour here for you guys. And if you're wanting to check out this map, it is going to be released, as far as I know, this upcoming week, so make sure you go ahead and check it out when it comes out. So rolling up here, we're just gonna go and do kind of a quick tour of each of the farms. And pulling in, this is the very bottom of the map. So hopping out, we're just gonna do a brief little look. This farm is pretty cool. Now, as far as I know, there are still things that need to be twerked and worked on, but overall, most every one of these farms should be fairly functionable. The very first shed here looks like you got functioning doors. Kind of small, kind of quaint, but a very nice little shed. Man door opens up as well, and looks like you have a bit of a back door there leading into the other side of the farm. And working around to the backside now, where it looks like some of the cattle pen areas are. Another very cool feature of this farm is the extended pasture area, actually going under the bridge of the main Highway 12, leading across with gates to access the additional fields to keep the cattle in, and leading all the way back into this back section of the farm, where it opens up very nicely. Just a cool, unique function that you will see every once in a while in Wisconsin, of just extensions of pastures to utilize the space and the ground. Very nice little unique setups, and I want you to pay attention to that on each one of these farms as far as the details. It's one thing that I've enjoyed about MRG maps ever since FS19. When I first met MRG, is that he definitely wants to pay attention to all of the little details. Just putting in little things like leaning gates onto the barn there, and of course just other map details, such as things that just got updated this last week, as far as corn stalks and soybean straw, things like that, textures with the fields. Those are little things you're going to want to pay attention to when it comes to MRG maps. So pulling out of here, I'm going to have to go ahead and wait for the traffic, and we're going to go ahead and head to the next farm, which is going to be past the shop area. Then rolling on, now we are kind of on the bottom of the map still. We took a right off of the main road. This is your shop area. So at the start, without the place anywhere shop mod, if you guys have that installed, you can put that on your farms, but your equipment will spawn here when you purchase your equipment, and you will have to drive it across the map. And now driving right across the map here, we are going to go to this other small farm here, which I've always kind of enjoyed the look of this farm. Definitely unique, kind of smaller. Would be great for one of those starting farm types if you're wanting to do that, as it's kind of built around a little bit of a tighter structure. It's sort of open on like the back side of the farm, but overall functional, as I do believe this shed was actually kind of pulled. It's a very similar shed setup here from back on FS19 actually. Coming into the back of the farm, we've got some TMR bags, which, as you're going to see from MRG maps that I've noticed with doing some beta testing on his maps, the TMR bags are kind of a cool little new feature that he's working on. We've got a nice pen back here for your cattle, and working around through the barnyard area. Just kind of a cool looking farm here. Just little things like the ambient sounds that you're going to hear on this map are very enjoyable. Definitely brings the map to life. And again, just looking at those little features that he has placed all over, and even just leaving out of the barn with the functions of 2 different gates where you can leave the door open, with the gate here. Again, the ambient sounds, just little things like buckets, fuel barrels here, and even the attention to detail even here kind of in this little milking parlor in regards to just the controls, the functions of like your bulk tanks. Very, very nice little setup. I definitely think this farm is a setup that would be great for smaller equipment or doing kind of a smaller farm build. So finishing up with that farm there, that's farm number 2. We're going to go ahead and head on down the road to what we're going to call farm number 3. But while we're driving up to the top right portion of the map, make sure you go ahead, tap that thumbs up button for me. And of course, if you haven't yet subscribed here to the King May community, make sure you go ahead and do that for me now. It helps me with producing and making these videos. So if you could do that for me, I'd greatly appreciate it. And rolling up to what I'm going to call farm number 3. If you look on the map, when you do download this map, it is farm number 63 in the top right corner. Overall, very cool little view of just a rustic style farm from the front. I do like how there's like that dirt road over there where you can kind of bring your tractors in for feeding cattle and whatnot, but it opens up very nice here kind of by the main like garage area and the main sheds. But taking a look, we've got ourselves a nice little garage here. Doors are functioning. You are able to use the garage. Looks like we've got fuel. Again, the attention to details. And even inside of like the main sheds, these are again things that I want to just point out is just these little details that just brings a map to life. And of course the main barn area, very rustic, old school farm. Very nice little tie stall area as far as milking. And looks like on the side of the barn we have a very cool TMR area for mixing. So it looks like we do have some functioning as far as your silos to be able to back your TMR mixer right up to the elevator here and get yourself loaded up with TMR for your cattle. And of course you are going to have the mods for the blowers in order to use these harvesters. And as far as the other bin, I would have to actually continue on with playing this map here for testing out for you guys as far as TMR, which I do plan on doing. So make sure you follow the channel because I do want to start a farm series here back on this channel for FS25 with Ashton Corners. I would like to build the main farm from scratch and try to see how large we can grow that farm, including some cattle. So if you guys want to check that out, make sure you comment down below. Let me know. Now walking into this bigger barn again, just those little details of the fans, being able to have the fans spinning is just little things that really brings FS25 to life. That started again back in 19 into 22, and things that good map makers are really focusing on to make the game that much more enjoyable when you are coming in here feeding cattle and taking care of your farm chores. Now on the back of the map, it looks like we got a nice little slurry pit area that you can load up your slurry spreader from, and we got a couple of bins back here that you can store your additional corn and soybean that you have on the map with one of the cool augers that we have here on FS25. Farm number 4 is going to be kind of a nice little setup as far as just if you want to do cash cropping, as you got a nice, very nice bin setup, very large with the grain leg setup there and corn dryer. Nothing too crazy or special, but should be enough storage here with a little bit of room to expand if you guys are fairly knowledgeable with the landscaping tools. If you wanted to kind of expand off the side here, maybe flatten down a little bit of that hillside to get an extra shed or so if you need. But plenty of storage inside of here for storing just your basic planter, combine headers, couple of tractors, and a nice cold storage shed down there for your tillage equipment or any other additional tools that you may need for just doing some cash cropping. So not a ton to see on this one, just a nice simple little setup. And pulling into farm number 5, very long driveway if you all do remember from FS22. Kind of a cool, unique setup here, a little bit of like a marshy pond area on the left side of the farm here with fields on the right. And pulling in again, just a nice simple layout and setup with your fuel, some nice sheds, slurry area, harvester again needing that blower, but a nice shed on the side of that harvester to be able to back up and unload your silage from the harvester there. But a unique setup on this one, kind of wide, kind of elongated. I do remember the road straight ahead of us here, kind of leaving, going back off to the other road. Big on storage. These sheds are fairly large, semi-sectioned off, but great for storing just different equipment. And again, I just wanted to point out the audible noises of just what you would hear normally on a farm with the birds that would normally be trying to nestle up inside of the shed. And coming back around, again, a couple of nice little bins here for storing your extra crops, and some cool, unique sheds with little hay lofts here that I'm sure if you did want to use, there are mods now on itch.io for small square balers and the hay wagons that you could probably store your hay up there if you wanted to. A nice chute by the gate here that you can unload your cattle into. And just walking around the feeding area, I do remember, and I believe it is the same, your feeding area is right here in this nice trough that we have for feeding your cattle TMR. And again, just the attention to detail with the calf hutches here, and the chute, of course, for those role players out there that want to give their cattle some shots to keep them healthy. And of course, the first shed that we passed by, a nice storage space here for storing your additional equipment needed. And now heading out of that farm, we're going to go to the main iconic farm that if you were to drive southbound on 12 into Madison, Wisconsin, you would see this farm right here. I always enjoy when I am driving for work coming down on 12. Very enjoyable to see this farm in real life, and it's crazy to see the accuracy that MRG has put into this farm in regards to how close it is to the real life farm. Now this farm, there is a lot to go on. We're going to go ahead and park the truck here at the house with the functioning garage here to be able to store some smaller stuff like your lawnmower. But there are some changes from FS22 of just little things that are a little bit different on this map that he did work to try and get a bit more accurate. Now this should be your feed storage for your pigs as it was in 22. And of course slurry for your pigs here up at the front. And just wrapping sort of back here, and normally this front section on this farm is a pig pen. Now it could be changed. I am going to have to test this out. But leading into the other side of the gates is the feeding on the trough here for your cattle on this first main section of cattle. And looks like we do have an elevator that gets extended through that is potentially from the harvesters there. A shed in here that you could potentially actually store your hay in here if you wanted to. As we're wrapping it around here, we're going to exit this gate. Again, the attention to the detail just around the farm. We're going to go ahead and walk to the back here, though, and show off this massive slurry pit that you can back up your liquid slurry spreader, get loaded up on 22. And again, this map is still in a beta form. You used to have to actually turn on the augers for the slurry at those two disconnects there on the slurry pit to get this to work. But right now, I do believe it is just functioning. If you back up, you can hit R and fill up your slurry there. And wrapping back up the same portion of the farm, we've got ourselves a little calf pen area. Very unique, filled with little mini calf hutches. We're going to kind of wrap ourselves back. There is another driveway up to this side of the farm, and I've usually always used this portion of the farm for storing hay as well, just kind of stacking hay bales up on either side. Looks like there's a new extension here though on FS25 into a new area there that maybe for those small skid steers you can store some additional bales in there. And zigzagging back, we've got ourselves a nice little storage shed here, staying unique to the farm, as this farm is pretty well laid out across this road back and forth. And coming in, it looks like we have where you can unload for your grain, taking it to the grain leg. And right next to it, we have the mixing area that you can store just some different things inside of here if you wanted to, and unload from the augers out for mixing your TMR. And wrapping back, it looks like we have the unload augers here for some of your main bins on the outside. And right next to that, we have ourselves another cow pen here. Lots of storage for your silage. And we have ourselves another pig barn down here with slurry right there. And wrapping up to the top section of the farm, very unique field setups as you see in Wisconsin, with alternating back and forth on the hillsides between hay and other crops like soybean and corn. And coming up to the main barn, and again guys, this is a beta, but once this is done and fully functioning, this barn is a massive freestall barn. At this moment it should be functional. Should be able to use it. Just little details that are still getting finished and wrapped up before the release of the map. And coming on back to what looks to be an unloading area for the freestyle barn that you can unload your cattle when you bring them, and potentially some additional feeding. And on the back side of the farm, the new addition of the slurry pit back here. Overall, a very large, enjoyable farm. This is the main farm that I would like to go ahead and start from scratch on. Lots of room for expansion, lots of room for storage, and overall a farm that you could definitely grow a large dairy production on. If you would like to see that, make sure you go ahead and comment down below. Let me know that you want to see the new content in FS25 from me. Man, some love, as he is bringing some really cool, unique maps to FS for you all. And if you want to get access to those beta maps, I do believe it is behind a Patreon subscription, but if you do that, you can get access to the beta maps, as you will see on some of these other unique maps that are coming to FS25. I will be making videos on them, so make sure you like and subscribe down below. Turn that notification bell on so you can see those maps and a nice little review just like this one. Thank you all for the support, but we're gonna go ahead and call this one a video. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you on the next one.